Regular meeting of the Animal Control Commission, January 12th, 6 p.m. at 291 North Main Street. It's a new year. We're going to have a good bang in it. Let's do it. Off we go, right?
Yep.
Okay. Call to order.
This year. Make some progress this year.
Yeah, it's a new year. Let's go for it. I say, yeah, let's do it. Working together, I think we'll do a great job. I know we will. Call to order. That's me, right? I'm still learning this stuff. I have been in 8 meetings today. My brain is mush, mush. And we need to do the pledge. Meetings, the Pledge of Allegiance. John, you want to lead us?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Kathy Gwen, here.
Kathleen Harris is here.
Sean Schwarzenberger's here.
Jerry Hall here.
Lacey Goodlett here.
I can hear her.
No, we heard you.
Because I never put the mic next to me.
Yeah, and you talk quiet.
I do. Except, don't ask my family, though. Okay. Is better for you? Okay, sorry about that.
Lean into it.
I know, I'll lean into it. Okay, here we go. All right. Any oral communications from the public, it's the opportunity to address the commission on any matter of interest, whether on the agenda or not. Unless additional time is authorized the commission, all commentary should be limited to 3 minutes. Anybody here in the public wish to say anything? Oral communications from the public, is there anything from the public that would like to say anything that you wanted to, or are you just here to observe?
Cut.
Okay, great, glad to see you. Nice to have you here. Okay, thank you. And what's your name? Hi, Gloria.
Welcome, Gloria.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome. It's good to see you, and I've seen you at PetSmart. There you go. She does our kitties. Does a great job, too, and does a lot of rescue and foster. Does a good job. Okay, approval of minutes. Has everybody had the opportunity to take a look at the minutes?
We just got them, so this is for August. Let me take a second.
Well, I read them when she sent them.
I kind of did, yeah.
I've looked at both the minutes for August 11th and for October 13th, and I see no issues with them that stands out. And I would move that we approve them as presented to the commission.
I second that the minutes be approved. They looked fine to me, too, as well. And Tiffany, which copy do you want me to sign?
I have the ones down here that you need to sign, so after them.
Right here?
She's got it.
Those are just copies for you.
Okay. All right. Boy, I got a lot of copies.
Yeah.
All right, a lot of copies. And reports, has anybody had the opportunity to look at the shelter stat reports for October, November, December 2022?
I looked at them. It looks like progress is being made, but I'm still kind of astounded at the euthanization numbers still.
Well, I did get some clarification that euthanasia is only if, like, I was checking out the cats because it seemed like really, really high. But if they're sick or diseased, then they need to be put out of their misery and their
Right,
suffering.
and we were going to try and get a separation of that at some point, weren't we, to kind of know?
So we're not going to separate, was this one euthanized because of an illness? Was this one euthanized because of aggression? We're not going to separate that in the statistics, but we do not put any animal down that is capable of living on their own, they're well, or they're not aggressive. None of those are put down.
So we have a lot of sick, hurt, and mean animals then.
Yeah, December especially was higher than normal, and I did get some clarification on that. All of them. We had more aggressive and more sick. A lot of hit by vehicles for the month of December. So
A lot of traffic during that month, too.
Yes.
You know, during around that time. And people move before the end of the year, or they're ski-daddling all the way for some reason, and they leave their animals
Leave 'em
behind.
behind,
We
yep.
came across a lot of that, quite a few abandoned animals. It's pretty sad.
There's a lot of them that are running loose now on the streets that people are just
I
not.
know. It's pretty bad.
You know, the German
Sad.
Shepherds and, it seems like the German Shepherds and the Huskies are the ones that are being out there right now. A lot of them.
And the Pyrenees, I've seen them, yeah, on the east side, oh, man. Yeah, it's sad.
It is sad.
can't take
I feel
'em
sorry
all.
for the animals. I know, we can't. Do we have an up, so we're okay with the shelter stats then?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm good.
Carrie, everything okay, good? You read them? Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
We're going to have, we would like to have an update on animal services building construction.
So I'm going to, can I just go through all the schedule matters for you?
Yeah.
Go in order?
Okay.
First and foremost, I know most of you, and I've worked with some of you over the years and some on other committees, but Jay Costello, Police Chief, I see some new faces. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, but
I'm here.
Back
I'm
from-
always here.
back from the grand jury days, a long time ago.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, Happy New Year, and this is the first meeting of the year, so I wanted to come and like to see the Animal Control Commission talk about some of these schedule matters and try to answer any questions that you might have as we go through these. Normally, Lieutenant Moore or Captain Manus would be coming to these meetings. If I attended every single one of these meetings, I would be away from my house every Tuesday because I do some of the two-talk committees and obviously city council. So I'm going to try to get to more of the Animal Control Commission meetings, but staff is really good at their positions and keeping track of this information for you and for me and for the city. So,
If I may, just for a
Yes,
moment,
sir.
for those on the council, on the committee who don't know you or haven't worked for you, this man right here is a walking statistic book. He is on top of it. I have meetings with him on a regular basis for other matters, and he is concerned, he cares, and he does pay attention, so he knows what's going on.
Good,
Appreciate
thank you.
that. Thank you. So I'll start with the update of the animal control building. Obviously, we all know that it's at the inception of the construction phase. It's been 2 or 3 months now, currently controlled by engineering planning. As you can see, if you drive by there, it's fenced off. I don't even think we have access there now unless we get permission to go with them because of the construction phase. Obviously, that's limited access due to risk management associated with the construction of this facility. A lot going on there, such a large project. Construction is tracked, and the impacts, obviously, in the near future when we have that open is going to be amazing for the city of Porterville and for the PD. It's been a long time coming. Obviously, I've been with the PD for well over 20 years, been doing this for about 27 now total, and this is the longest running project that I've seen at the PD. I mean, this started with Chief Crodel in 2016.
I remember, yeah.
Yep.
And it's taken a long time because I was in this spot when it was started. I was the captain in charge of services division, and I remember putting a report together for the other facility and the conditions there way back then. And it's just we wanted to make sure that we had that money for this new building, and hopefully it'll be a benefit to us and the city. With that, we've had some issues with our current facility, obviously, because it's of the conditions.
Cold,
Obviously, the animals are safe, but we've had to limit access to certain areas there because of the recent storms. We have just recently fixed a portion of the roof to make that safe, but we've had to shut down our freezer area because of electrical in that place. So right now, we're not taking any animals from Woodlake and Lindsay. Tulare County has been gracious enough to assist us in helping us with those animals so we don't overload our staff at our current facility until we can get into the new one. And I've spoken to those chiefs, very willing to help us in these times so we can make sure we save We don't spend a lot of money on this facility when it can go to this one. If you would like, I can go to the next one, number 3.
I just want to say one thing about that, what you just talked about. Well, I appreciate that you're following through on that and assisting the animals and the staff in the building, because getting that coordinated, I know that it's not easy to do. I know.
It's tough.
It's hard to do, but we appreciate, I know we all appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
For that, taking that extra step. Thank you.
So we'll go on to number 3. I'll provide you some information on that. Let me first saying that I knew this one was gonna be hard.
We all feel it. We all feel it.
It's going to be hard to replace Augie. That was
can't
an
replace him.
unforeseen and unexpected, so we'll just get that out of the way right now.
Yep.
With that said, staff is going to take their time on absolutely looking for the best animal control services manager, and what will benefit the public safety of the city, obviously, and animal control is one of those facets of public safety. So the process to fill this position is going to take some time. We're going to follow all our standard practices on testing processes, HR rules, and regulations for hiring this position. Obviously, we have Erica as our interim right now. She's managing the facility. She's well-rounded for that position.
Oh, yeah.
And I would fully expect her to put in for this position when it's opened up. I would hope so.
I was gonna ask. I hope so,
Staff
too.
will have a conversation with her, but she was trained by the best, so.
Yeah.
She's the acting animal shelter supervisor, and she has the full support of the PD right now in those endeavors.
Yeah, she'd be a great person for it.
Absolutely.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Any questions on that, I can answer for you.
I
Okay.
think she'd be a really good choice.
Yeah, that was
She
my
was
first
trained
thought.
and,
She does an extremely well job, and I would expect her that she would be applying for that position and going through the process.
but take your time, don't.
Yeah, it is a long process anyway,
Yeah.
except it's beneficial if we're able to stay in-house
yeah.
and hire somebody inside, because they already work for us, and the process
Right.
it's a little bit faster than if we were to try to hire somebody outside. We have a crisis intervention specialist that we were trying to hire with some new monies through ARPA for homeless and mental health, and we're still trying to fill that, and we were allocated that money in this fiscal year in July.
You're still
It's
trying to
just-
fill it?
It's the process. It's background, medical screening. The background is what takes the longest, because you're inside a police facility and handling police documents, and so we're close to wrapping that up, but hopefully Erica applies and we can skip that.
Can't throw anybody in there.
Number 4, shelter staffing. Budgeted allocation for animal control services is 7 personnel, and that's to include the animal shelter supervisor, 1 community service officer, 2, which is currently Erica, although she's our interim supervisor, shelter supervisor, 1 animal control live release coordinator, 2 community service officer 1s, and 3 part-time kennel technicians. So that's what we're allocated and budgeted for. As we move into this next year, we're going to start budget talks in March, and as we go into this next fiscal year and the new facility, that's something that I and staff have to look at to see if we need to increase staffing or reallocate resources to the new facility. But right now, that's what we're budgeted for animal control. Now, with that said, we do have other community service officer positions that are budgeted and allocated for our patrol division, but they are also cross-trained to animal control services. So they're dual purpose, and so is Ben and Ryan. They're both dual purpose. If we needed them to go to a vehicle burglary and handle that, they were trained. If not, their primary duties are animal control services. But our other CSOs are trained to do that as well, so it kind of gives us that buffer of extra staff, but not having to ask for additional allocated funding.
So is that 7 FTEs, or is that broken down even further?
7 total personnel,
Okay.
Yeah, he brought it down.
from Erica's position all the way down. Now, all those aren't filled, obviously. We have the current opening, and then we do have our live release coordinator, and then our 2, but we would like to, obviously, as things transition and move forward in staffing, we say Erica puts in for this job and gets it, then we'll be looking to fill her position. And then we're also looking for additional part-time technicians to help with the current facility and then the new one.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Thank
Okay,
you.
a question that I've got on the staffing, because they come under a public safety issue, can they not use, why can't they use Measure H funds to also?
So we do,
because
we
they are
actually,
public
we
safety.
actually, so I write a COPS grant every year that funds 2 positions, which are Ben Mendoza and Ryan Smalling. So it's actually funded by state monies already. And then one of our positions is funded by Measure HRI, right? So, and
Measure
then
H
the
is
rest
all
are,
public safety.
general funds, right? So I kind of contributed to when we're working on budget and it's all the department heads, the city manager and the rest of city staff that is associated with budget. It's almost like playing poker. No one wants to show their hands on what they're asking for until they hear everybody else. It's what we have to look at all of public safety and what is the need and where do we best direct our resources at that time. And animal control is obviously in there, but we have to look at the whole department,
The whole-
right?
yeah,
So,
okay, well,
yes, sir.
I can
Just to
understand
clarify,
that.
Measure H and Measure I are both public safety measures.
Oh, are they?
So
Okay.
Measure H is a public safety only tax for fire, police, and 15% for library. And Measure I is a general tax fund, but when it went to the voters during the survey portion of it for this general tax measure, their number one concern was police, fire, and then roads. That's what the voters said. So that's what the current council at that time allocated funding towards, was for increase in police, fire, and then obviously roads.
Right,
So-
but I had gotten the impression that because of the animal control being overseen by the PD, that's a part of the PD.
It is part of the
Police.
PD.
So that's why I was thinking that Measure H could be used for AC.
They are.
And they are.
Yeah, it is, but when
They are.
Measure H was passed in 2005 and began in 2006, the funding at that time was specific to police officers, and as we transitioned, as we transitioned over the last couple decades, we went back to council to reallocate monies towards other positions,
be
such
included,
as
right.
dispatch, crime prevention, as we grew, crime prevention, evidence technicians, and with Measure I, now we're looking at other areas such as crime analyst positions, animal control,
Okay.
and something else we're looking, so it is being looked at, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And the other thing I had is because the city has acquired quite a bit of county islands. And because of that, well, and also all the injuries and illnesses that we've had at the shelter, they've been extremely shorthanded. Are we going to be able to possibly look at having
So it's not
more?
just animal control, so I'll just back up
Okay.
a little bit. It's the entire, it's
It's the
both
entire
police and
system.
fire. I'm down 13 police officers right now.
Okay,
So, and obviously, we have people in different stages of the hiring process. It's the same with animal control,
Okay.
it's same with dispatch. Dispatch is down 3, and we have a 25-year dispatcher that is now retiring at the end of the month. So now I'm going to be
Okay.
down 3 dispatch. So it's not just animal control. It's all facets of
Everybody
public
all
safety,
over,
including fire
okay.
department. And so we're trying to hire as fast as we can, but we're not going to lower our standards just to get fresh bodies. We're going to make sure that we have the right people that are coming to work for the PD and for the citizens here in the city. So
Gotcha.
it'll take time, but
okay.
as we move forward into this new fiscal year, I think you guys will see some more people hired, and part-time is very important because they can do some of those small tasks that would take Erica, Ben, or Ryan or Fox away from those type of duties, and we can spend a little part-time money and have them do some of those duties so they can go on with theirs.
Okay.
So let's see, where am I at? Shelter. Animal control training for our community service officers. They're all allocated positions right now as community service officers, with the exception of the position that Erica is currently in as the animal shelter supervisor and manager. So when they get hired as a community service officer, they go through about a 560-hour training program with field training officers that have been to school to train people. The training includes a post 832s, which is laws and arrests, gives them the authority to write tickets, gives them authorities to send admin sites. That class and write crime reports. That class was a 40-hour course. In conjunction with all their training that they went through in field training, it included the department policy procedures, city code violation training, report documentation, evidence and booking evidence procedures, and being signed off on our evidence manual and our evidence systems. Computer-aided dispatch platforms, that's the computers they use in their vehicles to be able to issue citations, write reports, same platforms that are in our report writing areas at the PD. They were trained on that. In conjunction with those systems and those platforms, it's obviously they have to learn their records management system and those platforms. We have a very new record management system called Spillman that we've had for a couple years that Tulare County Sheriff has just transitioned to, and it takes a while. We've been doing this platform for 2 years, and we're still working out bugs.
It takes a
Visalia has
while.
been doing it for 8, and they're still working out bugs. So that includes our animal control officers having to figure out how to use these new technologies and platforms. We've recently issued them body-worn cameras. Very important to us because, one, they have a GPS system on there. We can know where they're at, not because we want to spy on them or try to figure out what they're doing. It's so for their safety, and especially when they're contacting citizens and those contacts are recorded. For me, it really, when we went to body-worn cameras, excuse me, the complaints dropped off. People could come in, complain, say they did this, did that. You play them the video, and it went from 10 or 15 a year to 1 maybe after it was all said. And so we've
Got a witness there.
yeah, so we've initiated that with our CSOs for their safety and for documentation. Vehicle operations, obviously, their dispatch terminals in their vehicles. But some of the training, I'm not going to identify what training certain individuals have, but I can say this, as I researched their training records, so I could give this briefing. I was actually surprised at some of them that I saw. And one of our CSOs went to the police academy. He went to the police academy in 1981. I did not know that. I was like, really? And you guys say he's a part-time CSO now, right? He used to work full-time. You guys figured it out. 1981, so.
Oh, I know who that is.
So they've been to Advanced Animal Law, all of them have been to Advanced Animal Law Enforcement Academy, which is a 40-hour public safety academy in Santa Rosa. Investigation procedures class related to animal cruelty laws. It's an 80-hour class that's put on by the State Humane Society. Investigation into illegal animal fighting, which is a 40-hour class by the State Humane Society. Proper euthanasia training that was put on. I don't have that where it was put on, but it was a certified course. Rabies control, animal handling, and animal rights training. Basic life support, first aid, and CPR. That's very important for all our employees to have, including our CSOs. They've been to ICS training, which is Incident Command System training. As we know, we've all experienced this recent storm. We were dealing with a lot of different stuff. We also want our CSOs and animal control officers to understand that ICS program and the FEMA control and command systems. National Incident Management System. It goes along with what I was just talking about with Incident Command System training. So if there's a large-scale incident and we need all hands on deck, they understand the system too. So that's just a snippet of their training, but I would say they all have about 98% of this training. Now, give or take, some of them are still in the process of getting into some of these, but this was when, these trainings were when they first started the animal control when we took over from Lindsay. So they were going through this training a long time ago. So they
I
know
know
about
at
it. So
one
can I
time
answer
this-
any questions?
At one time, the certifications were required, but I don't know if it's still required through the DOJ with that academy that, you know, like Ryan had gone to and got
Mm-hmm.
certified. Thomas, I believe, is certified. I don't know if Ben has he gone through? And
They all have.
They all
If you're
have,
talking about the Advanced Animal Law Enforcement Academy,
yeah.
they all have.
Yeah, and it sounds like the animal control staff is actually very well-rounded and
Yeah,
trained. I'm
yeah.
sure
Yeah, and I'll
there's
say this, I'm
updated
really high on training, education, and technology, so, because that's the direction we're going, and I know I've said this to a lot of different civic groups, and I could go through all the Jerry's heard some of them at Two Talk, but some of the same technologies that our officers are using are the same platforms that our animal control officers are using. You know, the only thing I think they don't have is a gun and red lights. So they go through all the same training. PC 832 is very important because it gives them the state guidelines that you're talking about for them to enforce some of the laws that we ask them to do.
Okay, yeah, because I found that out years ago when I was on the grand jury about those requirements, so that's why I was
Yeah.
asking. Okay, that's all I had on the officer training.
Number 6 is officer protection. So I'm happy to answer any questions in this area. The things that I looked at when I saw this on the agenda, and I knew I was coming tonight, some of the things I looked at was what equipment. There's another thing, we like to provide our people with the best equipment available out there, and that includes our animal control officers. So I looked at some of the stuff that they have and some of the stuff we're training them on. And some of the things I saw were based off of industry standards and obviously policy and applicable laws that they can legally carry, right? And some of these pieces of equipment that we issue are for job safety for them, but also for the community, right? So given the certified training on some of these pieces of equipment that I'm going to go over, that we give them, they've had or been certified in the use of some of this equipment. So obviously we give them uniforms, uniform allowance, and identifying badges and issue patches so people know that they work for the police department. They do wear vests, stab and bulletproof vests, even though they're not going to any type of priority 1 type call. It's still important that they have that equipment just in case there is some type of confrontation with somebody they're trying to take their dog or give them a citation for some reason.
Animal owners are rough, too.
Equipment belts are similar to police officers. They are a Sam Brown type of equipment belt. The only thing different that they don't have is obviously a firearm and handcuffs. They carry OC pepper spray, collapsible baton, obviously a radio for communication. Most recently, body cameras. And obviously their units are equipped with the safety equipment for not only for them, but for the animals. The cages in some of these vehicles that we're buying, along with AC controlled temperature monitoring for the animals and alarm systems for the animals. We're currently trying to go back and retrofit some of our vehicles. We started with our police canines that are currently getting retrofitted with a new system. Instead of the old type of pager system, I'll date myself, a pager type system back when I was carrying a canine, that I didn't even have one at one point, but when I was coming out, it would just beep if your car turned off, and it would alert you. So we found that was antiquated. So because everybody carries smartphones, the new system that we're going to for police canines and animal control, it's a system that when something happens with the vehicle, an alert goes to dispatch because we know somebody is always monitoring that, and a text message goes to our communication center and sent to the officer's cell phone that's on duty. Because we issue everybody a cell phone stipend, so they have so we can have communication with them for their cell phones.
That's a genius idea. I like that.
Yeah, we've been
That's a
researching
great.
this for probably a year now, and it's supply chain and everything else. That could be a whole nother meeting. So, and it's for everything, and that's one of the things, we've been waiting for the K-9 cars to be upfitted since March of 22-ish. So it takes a while because of
Yeah.
and we're still being affected by the supply chain. And obviously, they have mobile dispatch terminals and GPS systems on their vehicles that helps us know where they're at if they're not answering or need assistance and they can't put out where they're at. So I hope that's what you were looking for, whoever
Well,
was
what I'm
asking for
kind
that
of looking
schedule.
at is, okay, like Ryan was severely injured when he was attacked by that pit bull. Would something along the lines of like tasers or something, could have possibly helped prevent
Yeah,
some
see,
of
and
those
that's
injuries,
one of
or-
those things that we have to go by policy and applicable laws. And right now, the type of tasers that we get, along with our body cameras, it's the same company, are not for civilians. They do make some of those for civilians, but they're not as effective or would be effective in a situation like that.
So it wouldn't have helped, done
It
anything
wouldn't have
for
done
Ryan?
anything for that incident that you're talking about.
Okay.
It's one of those old stun guns that have the two it wouldn't have helped.
Oh, I was thinking of some, okay.
The ones that fire are the ones that you're talking about, law enforcement only. Now they have some that are less. I don't know if it would be effective on an animal that was charging.
Yeah, who knows? Okay.
So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, my questions are answered.
You have enough, yeah, sure had enough, huh?
Meeting schedule, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to talk about number 8. So the shelter building name, I'm assuming somebody was inquiring on schedule matters about the new building.
Correct.
I mean, that's,
Yeah.
okay, so, and the commission was designed to provide recommendations to the city council on any matters concerning animal control. And then it's outlined, I'm sure everybody knows it, it's outlined in our municipal code, clearly outlined on the duties of the commission. If there's a recommendation from this body to the commission on a name, I would be happy to take that to council or somebody when they're coming. Yes, sir.
I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Augie Gonzalez.
That's why I put it
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah, and that's what I figured. So as the department head, I could provide a recommendation to council and/or somebody from this body could come
I
to
can go.
council and recommend that during their portion to talk about Animal Control Commission. With that said, it's my job to strengthen each department or each unit that works in our department. And I think that it's a great idea. But obviously, that's something that needs to be taken to council and a recommendation put forth on how that would work.
If
Or
I
a
could work
plaque
with
or
you,
something dedicated. So.
maybe just a quick phone conversation, how we can get that going, the verbiage
Yeah,
going?
absolutely. I will. I'll make that inquiry for you, and then I can reach out to you and let you know.
Okay, that would be great.
Or
Thank
Ron.
you. Yeah, one of you, both of you, one of you, doesn't matter. As long as I get the
Call it a
information.
Memorial shelter or something, it's just got to be, it's got to be.
And as that project progresses, and we know that it's getting close to the end, obviously, everybody in this room would know when that's going to happen and when that building's going to open officially. And, our goals and awareness of different programs, I think, will increase with animal control as that facility is opened. I think we'll get more volunteer help.
yeah.
I can't wait to see it here in the city, right by the PD. It's right, it's
Yeah.
going to be so much better for the officers, not having to drive to Lindsay.
Right.
And being able to come here and save time and be more efficient. And, some of my staff likes to use the word easy. I like to use the word efficient because that's what I
He
think
sounds
that
like me. What
public
is
safety is.
most productive?
Yeah. So I'm happy to answer any other questions, and I'm always available by phone from anybody in the public, so.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all that.
Always available-ish.
Ish, I am. I am,
You are busy.
I am busy, but I will return any phone call I get eventually. All right?
Yes, sir.
Happy to answer any other questions.
Oh, thank you, that was
Okay, thank you
Well, I'm
so
gonna-
much.
very
I'm
informative.
going to have a question for you before you leave, so don't run off during the, okay, well, I can.
Now or later?
I can ask you during the oral communications.
And I'll come right back up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all that.
Yeah,
Appreciate
that was
it.
a lot of good info.
Okay. That was it, huh?
Yep, meetings.
Now, another section of oral communications.
We're going to
Does
cover
anybody-
number 7.
Number 7.
Where's number 7?
Meeting schedule.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about that one,
Yeah,
meeting
he
schedule.
left that one.
What was,
Because
Gonna
we
do
were
about
going to talk
that?
about going back to monthly now that things are more in the swing, because it seems like they last an awful long time when we're doing every 3 months. And then there's just too much to try and remember. We brought that up 2
well, I
meetings
know,
ago.
but I'm going to probably be the only one that's going to say, I think it's still too early.
Yeah, me too.
Right
Really?
now, because there's really no movement yet. I think once we get the actual time frame or timeline of the shelter being built, I think that's when there's going to be probably more activity. But that's just my opinion, I'm not voting against it or not. It's just my opinion. I think that maybe at this time, maybe hold off on another quarter.
And my question would be, what would it serve to do it monthly? Because we get our statistics on a quarterly basis, even though it's broken down by month. It gives us the opportunity to do a 3-month comparison and contrast
Yeah,
of the statistics.
I agree with that.
So you're still, so are you okay with the?
I'm okay with the
The
quarterly.
quarterly? And I'm just saying not, I mean, when it starts ramping up, the animal, that the shelter is on board, starts opening up, and there's lots
Hopefully
more
more
moving
activity.
And that's not to
parts.
say that as a chairperson or any member, if there's an issue
We
that
can
comes
call
up
a
in
meeting.
between, we can have a Zoom meeting, we can
Exactly.
call a meeting, just so it's done with the appropriate notifications,
Right,
so that we don't have a Brown Act
Yeah.
right,
conflict.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, I'm good with that for now. I just remember
Okay.
back when, things, a lot more got done when it was monthly, so.
Well, I will say that I'm right now, I'm very pleased with the report that was just given to us right now.
Yeah.
A lot of information, and I think that's good to know. A lot of it is really good to know, because I wasn't aware of all those hours of training. I
Not that
wasn't
much.
aware of and I also am quite pleased with the promotion of and support of the Augie Gonzalez Shelter. He's,
In that regards too, in addition, I think there should be some consideration of a fundraiser, a GoFundMe project for us as a committee to establish a memorial for Augie, all the years of service and all the good that he's done for the community,
I like that idea
What-
too.
regardless of what council chooses to do.
Right, we can do it on our own, right.
Yeah, what legalities do we have with that? I'm all for it.
A GoFundMe, I think a GoFundMe is going to be more of a personal thing, just somebody pick it up.
How did they do that for the fire officers that died? Because I know they did
Their fire association took the lead on that, and I don't know if you could legal advice, but because I'm not an attorney, but I don't think you could do it as a board, but I think you could do it as
Individuals,
Yeah.
okay.
Which would give us, open it up to solicit from the community.
Okay.
A lot of cat,
Yeah, 'cause
a lot of
that's-
cat lovers out
Like
there.
the name, that's a no-brainer as well, so.
Dog lovers too. Augie loved them all. He even made a new friend. So I think we could do this. All right. So for the meeting so far, we're going to stick to quarterly.
Okay.
And what Jerry had mentioned, we can always call a meeting later to avoid any Brown Act problems. And we can do a Zoom, Teams, we can put that together if things start moving quicker. And then once it's off and running, especially with the new shelter in place, probably new staff, welcome, hopefully Erica will take the job. I'll have to take her to lunch a couple of times. Talk her into it. So I think quarterly for now. to it
Okay.
quarterly.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
If you want to stick to quarterly, then I believe the next date, if we want to just pencil in and now, I think is April 13th, which is the second Thursday in April.
Okay.
We can do that, okay. All righty. And is there,
Left mine in the truck.
okay, so that,
Mine would be under other matters. no?
that works with everybody, right?
Yeah.
Any, okay, we've talked about that.
Now we're back to the oral.
Any oral communications from the public at this time? They're gone.
She left.
Mine would be under the other one.
Okay, all righty.
She heard enough.
Okay, no one's here to say anything, so other matters.
Okay, I have a question, and this kind of is regarding staffing, but yet it's under volunteers. I was asked, so I figured, okay, it'd be nice to know, what is the age limit for volunteering at the shelter? Because they do have requirements at the hospital, at the high schools, for the kids to have community service, and there was a lady that was interested in her kids volunteering at the shelter.
So anybody that we would hire as a police volunteer has to be 18 or older. If somebody wants to do community service through the PD and specifically asks for animal control, and they're under 18, it has to, for risk management, it happens because we have interns for law, justice, and education that we do as interns during the summer that are under 18 at the PD, but it has to go through human resources.
And that's through, here at City Hall?
Yes, ma'am.
And the high schools have similar programs for work experience for their students, and they probably have an established protocol there already that might be.
They do. They do, and they'll reach out to us saying they need certain students to intern during the summertime for everything from police IT to our records unit. The reason that we go through HR if they're under 18, even though it's coming from the high school, is we still have to do a small background process on anybody that's coming into the police department because of DOJ requirements,
Okay.
even volunteers. We put our volunteers that are 18 and older that volunteers in prevention, whether it's at animal control or driving around out in the community, has to go through a background process.
Okay.
Seems like it would be
We have had people come in wanting to be volunteers at our police department, and their background wasn't too good, so.
Yeah, well, this was age-specific, you know.
Probably one
high
of my
school.
relatives.
And it was-
The work
I think it was
experience
like-
program would be a target-rich environment for FFA
Yeah,
Absolutely,
Yeah, it
yes.
would.
students
Yeah,
with interest in
we
becoming
welcome that.
veterinarians, animal
Absolutely.
husbandry.
yeah.
We welcome that.
Yeah, this was, I think she said they had
Start
10
recruiting a
hours of
vet now.
community service that they have to do.
Yeah,
So
we do
this
that,
was
it just goes through our HR department.
Okay. I don't know how to answer that question then.
Also chiropractic. I'm a certified equine chiropractor.
Are you?
They have chiropractors for horses?
For dogs.
Ma'am. I've
They got
done
bones too.
Big ones.
And muscles and,
dogs, I did a pig.
wow.
People
Cool,
ask, how do you,
that's cool.
how do you do chiropractic on a horse? First thing is you have to teach them to lay down on the table.
No.
And gentlemen, if there's anything that we could do better, please let us know. We're here to, we're just, you're the backbone of this, not us. We're just here just to make some suggestions and get some ideas and all that. And, we're here to help. And
We appreciate it.
we want to be part of it in the support system. And we all feel very strongly about the Augie thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll even speak up and say, and I really think that instead of a mayor cutting a ribbon, I think his wife should.
Yeah.
And,
That too.
because believe me, she was there right with him a lot of times. So I think that's great, and I really appreciate the support of everybody here as well, too.
Well, maybe whichever
this.
meeting that's going to be brought up
And
at.
if I talk about it too much, I start crying, so.
Well,
Stop.
it might show council whichever meeting that's going to be brought up at, as many of us as can make it to show that support.
Yep.
Might be good.
I think that would be great, and I will definitely get a hold, I'll get in contact with you, and we will decide on
The unfortunate thing
say.
is, I don't think there's very many people on council now who had an opportunity to work with Augie, but should be enough remaining members who know who he is and what he's done.
Yeah.
If not, let me know, I'll take him outside and convince him.
There you go. You're the muscle. Okay, well, anything
Okay,
else?
I've got two more things here.
I swear.
What I wanted to find out is there any way possible that we can all get a copy of the animal control ordinances?
It's
So-
online.
'cause
It's
a-
online, it's on the website.
Yeah, you know how much that is a pain to try to look that thing up.
Oh, I
Probably a lot
found
of
it
I
really
pages
think
to
that we
quick.
print.
can have a folder that we can, so we can just,
We can arrange something.
okay. And the other thing that I had
I
was
don't need
if
one.
we can
I got
have
mine.
copies of the agendas and minutes and the reports sent to us.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what.
If we can get a copy of
Back in
the
the day.
agendas and reports and the minutes when the agenda has been posted, rather than like the day before. So we can have more time to be ready for our meetings.
I got mine 3 or 4 days ago.
I didn't get mine until yesterday,
Oh.
late yesterday afternoon.
Okay.
So, yeah, it'd be
I
appreciated.
think what would be more beneficial for us, rather than copies of the animal control ordinances, if there was specific guidelines set down for and I brought it up before, the mission of this committee and what exactly we are responsible for.
Go into the binder.
Sounds good.
So the section, if you want to look at it, regarding the Animal Control Commission on the city website, under the municipal codes, is 5-8.10, which clearly outlines all of the duties of the commission, and they're very clearly defined because I've read them many times.
Right.
And I noted that, I put that down in my notes when we were talking about the naming of the shelter, right? Because that has to be,
Yeah.
has to go through council. But that's the section if you want to look at it, and if you're not familiar with it, I would be, because it clearly defines what your role is.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. It's the other stuff, because we can make suggestions if there's something that maybe, because when they did the ordinances, it's a long
And-
time has passed, and
Yeah,
there
and
could
it's
be
very,
changes that could
it's
be
very
made.
important that you have a representative voice from your commission at the council meetings to pass on those recommendations, because it is a commission
Right.
designed and developed to provide recommendations to the council.
Right.
And it's basically outlines the general powers and the duties of the commission. And I was looking to see if I had a copy, but.
Real
But
quick one.
it talks about the city council staffing matters, the shelter programs, and what type of recommendations the committee, commission was developed for, to provide to council and direction to council. And it's ultimately up to council to make those decisions or take those recommendations
Right.
and implement them with staff.
Right,
And
yeah.
so, but basically, I would recommend when it's the time, and I've seen you there, it's when it's time for our talk at council, it's the time to bring those recommendations forward.
And it's now Animal Services, right? It's called Porterville Animal Services, not Porterville
No, it's still
Control?
it's still animal control, because that has to be a recommendation that is taken to council for changing in the ordinance.
No, I'm not, I'm talking about, it's called, the department is, the program is Porterville Animal Services. It's not anymore, it's still Porterville Animal
So
Control?
it's still animal control by
Okay.
ordinance. So we use it at our department as, because we don't like the word control, we use animal services. But
But that's
it
not
has to be,
official.
it has to be a recommendation from this body to council to officially change that.
Okay. So we can make
That's a recommendation. That's part of this commission, is those type of recommendations to the council, and why, right? So,
Okay,
the
I'm
reason
gonna
to
make a
have some of these
recommendation
meetings is, and new businesses to talk about these things and write down these
Commission
recommendations as you
undertake
take them
Bring it up
forward
as
to
a item to vote on,
the board.
motion.
Right now?
Yeah.
Right now?
When we're through with the chief, before we adjourn.
Okay. I think we're having a miscommunication when I was talking about the animal control ordinances. It's not the commission part that I'm looking at, it's all the rest of them, because I know that the commission came up with all the ordinances from laws and that type of thing.
So, no.
So there could be something in there that we could possibly
That's
have
really,
changed.
that's not accurate. The commission didn't come up with those. That was written
Well,
by
they were-
the police department. It was reviewed by the commission.
Okay, reviewed by.
I was actually here at that meeting. It went actually through a 3 or 4 type of revision, because I actually was taking what Lieutenant Moore's spot
Okay.
is now, because Captain Haynes was retiring. So
Okay,
I was
then that
placed
was
in
my
an
mistake,
an
then.
acting captain's position, and I actually helped him.
I
We
remember
actually
him.
wrote those.
Okay,
Commission looked at them, approved and adopted after 3 revisions by council. So it actually was like 6 or 7 revisions
Okay, yeah, 'cause we're
after
still
being
on that
written.
matter.
And when we go back and revisit policy and procedures, and although that was adopted by council and it has to be by resolution changed by council if we
Right.
make amendments, just like municipal
Right.
codes, we look at those and see if stuff is outdated, even in our own policy and procedure manuals, and make
Oh,
sure they're
okay.
updated. But we do the same thing with the Animal Control Commission, and we usually visit it. We do all our yearly audits for last year this month, so we have so many going on, but one of the things we do, we revisit those, which would include the municipal codes, because if we see stuff that is outdated or a new AB or SB law had been passed where we can't do some of the stuff that's in there, we revisit those in January of every year. And we do that with all different departments at the PD. So like, I get alerts on my phone, so some of these audits started, yesterday, but they're all outlined on different days throughout the months, and each mid-manager or manager that it's assigned to these specific units will develop a report and send a recommendation to my office through the captain for any recommendations for changes to any unit, which is updating our policies and/or rules or policies for animal control, if they're outdated or if a law changed. Because we do that because all the laws changed January 1.
okay.
So,
Okay? Okay, then I'd like to, let's vote on the.
Make a motion in a second.
Mhm.
Make a-
Make a
You can
motion.
you can make the motion.
Okay, I want to make a motion that we change it to Porterville Animal Services instead of Porterville Animal Control. That will also bleed into the, bleed, that's a terrible word. Call it, instead of Porterville Animal
Tie into.
Control Commission, it'd be Porterville Animal Services Commission as well, okay?
A second.
Do it. All righty.
All in favor?
Discussion?
Anybody want to talk about
Any discussion?
it? Are you done?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Opposed?
Unanimous.
closed. It is unanimous. Good, thank you for coaching me. My new best friend. Okay, anything else?
I'm good.
I just had one little thing I wanted to bring up. I know you want to go home, but isn't that why we're here?
It's okay, football's over
That's all
now
right.
for
I
me.
get it.
There you go. All right.
It'll be
Over
on
for me.
stage in 7 minutes. So.
Oh, you got to play?
Okay, real quick, we can bring it into the next meeting, but just so people can start thinking about it. What other things we can do as a commission to get the community's awareness of us and what the service does. We talked about this back in the day, but then it kind of all went to the wayside and things changed. And
One of the things you
There
can
it
do
is.
is this little device right here on Facebook. People are always posting the shelter posts when a dog has been brought in. Is this your dog? Share it. Like it and share it.
No, most of us do. I was talking more of something along the lines of maybe an animal control type of page where
I remember
informational stuff
I
can
remember we
get
were
out.
talking about Porterville Animal Control Commission page, it never went
Yeah, we didn't
anywhere.
get that far.
So,
Problem is, there is the time management of monitoring it and making sure that it's used in the appropriate manner, that people don't get in there and start posting inappropriate
Yep.
material. You're better off to use the page that currently
we have.
exists and share on your own page.
I have one question for you two fellas. What is the best meeting to go to bring this up as far as City Hall? Because I know there's a meeting every week,
Every 2 weeks.
every 2 weeks? I thought it
Every
was
2 weeks, the first and third Tuesday of every month.
So their next meeting is coming up this coming Tuesday.
And if I could, you were talking about what can get citizens more involved as well, right? I think, so if you come to a council meeting, oftentimes there's 12, 25, 50 people in here, depending on what is on the agenda.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I think that if you use that opportunity for your benefit, when you come up here and speak on behalf of the commission, you have the whole room listening to you. So when you bring up something that is important or some change that you are requesting, you've got the whole room listening, and I think you might jog somebody's head like, you know what, that's a good idea. I would like to go to that meeting and see what's going on.
Okay.
Just a
Kind of
thought.
what I was looking for. trying
Thank
to
you for
figure
that
out.
recommendation. I think I'll do that. Okay. And also, when we do talk about this, I'll make sure we get a hold of everybody when I'm going to bring it up. I'll look at the agendas and see which one's the best one to go to. And
Yeah, because I'll be there if
as
I
many
can.
who can be there would be great. If you can't,
Oh, yeah.
that's okay too. Okay, anything else? Okay, I call this meeting, let's adjourn the meeting, 6:57. This was a marathon today.
Oh, wait.
On the way.
The last